KFAN.
Yeah, man. It's chilly out there.
Is it? What is it?
What is it right now?
40 something.
Is it really? That sucks.
Oh.
Does it?
Yeah, it sucks for the kids.
Halloween.
For Halloween, it's
Because I've been listening to Corey. He's been bitching all week about it.
Well, again, I know that the 10-day forecasts are a crapshoot, but a week and a half ago it was trending towards being like the all-time high on Halloween, and now it's going to be mid-30s and misty or slushy or rainy. It just sucks for the kids.
Yeah, but Corey, you'll make one of these tonight, right?
No.
You won't?
Dude, I'm 44. Who do you think I am? Did we just meet? I'm not going to be sipping out of a flask.
No, but you said earlier this week that
Yeah,
the
you
way
did
to
say.
stay warm, you're going to drink.
Yeah,
That's
for
what you
others.
said.
For others. For people that like having fun.
Yeah.
Will you walk around at least tonight?
For sure.
Okay.
Yeah.
Will you sneak some candy?
Whoa.
Well, 100%. That's one of those.
Yeah, right.
What do you mean, sneak some candy?
Let Dad take a look. What do you got in here?
Every year
It's a lot
I
of
tell
Skittles.
Angie, I go,
There might be
can,
needles in
can we
here."
just buy Halloween candy the morning of? Because it's been in the house for about a week and a half, and I think she bought about 6 bags, and I think we're down to 4.5.
Oh, totally.
Right, which means I got to go buy another bag or two, or we're going to run out almost immediately tonight. I've been crushing Twix for like a week.
So
Yeah,
good. Do you
so
think?
good.
Do you think how many trick or treaters do you think you'll get? If you had to
I
put a
said
number.
Twix, by the way, not
What?
nothing.
What's wrong?
No, nothing. Don't worry about it. Twix, TWIX.
I really like that candy too.
What were you saying now? How many trick or
How many, if you had to
treaters?
put a number?
We get hundreds.
Are you busy?
We get a ton.
250? 250?
Probably close to that.
This is a public service announcement. We get like 1 or 2, and we buy a cauldron of candy.
Which is perfect.
I saw
you
your
gotta say
photos.
your,
It was Reese's peanut butter
yeah.
Sour Patch.
It was phenomenal.
You're staying
You
on
say your
brand.
address on the.
Well, if you guys want to stop by, I will give handfuls and handfuls of king size candy bars to anyone that come over, and make you feel great about your costume.
What about nut rolls?
Oh,
There you go.
no, just Reese's Butterfinger Sour Patch is what I'm offering.
That's it.
Let's just say you
and
won't have
and
to
you
pay
really have
them.
the king size?
All king size. I don't mess around.
Really?
Dude, you don't mess
Because
around.
I just know the joy it brought me as a kid when I saw king size house. I still remember the houses by my parents'
Augustus.
house. I remember the houses that offered king size candy
totally.
bars. You remember?
Yeah.
So now I do handfuls for not one. Oh, not one. I'm handfuls, like big bear paws full of just all the king size.
And the steaks I saw in your bag.
Steaks I'm grilling up tonight.
Oh, okay.
Yeah.
I thought you were giving out the raw
So
meat to kids.
that's my thought process. I'm like, I'm gonna get really full off of a ribeye, so I don't want to eat candy. But then I'll eat all the
You can always find some room to kind of stuff around the ribeye.
Correct. Yeah, it'll be a good night. I can't wait.
Yeah. Fun stuff.
It's the best, man.
Yeah, it's the best.
It's the best.
Oh, but so we went to break, and I had an idea. I've been talking to my friends about it.
Okay.
What if
Should
we
you
did-
hold on? Do you need to share this off air before you say it for the first time on air?
It's actually a football take.
Oh, okay.
Right. But like I said it, think about this. So rivalry weekend, we move up to the weekend before Thanksgiving.
Okay.
And from Thanksgiving till New Year's Day is bowl season still. Like it's all bowl season. We get all these big bowls in, but it's a 32 team playoff. And then instead of having a top 25, we have a top 32 throughout the year. And then if you make the top 32, you're in.
The top 32 thing makes the most sense in the world.
Right?
It does, but God,
See, I don't think so.
It's too much. The 18 to 20. I mean, you think of your first NFL season when you went from 12 games to 17ish, right? It's so much wear and tear. I just think
It's a lot.
I don't think 18 to 22-year-old kids that bodies are still maturing. That's
It's a lot.
Sure.
That's
Oh,
late
right,
July to January with not just
But
the
just
practices,
look
but
at-
Counterpoint though.
Georgia.
Counterpoint.
You know,
what
if
if
they're
what if
getting
there's a
beat up-
person? What if there's a person or a group of people that don't care about the well-being of kids and we just want to gamble?
100%.
for sure.
Could you imagine?
I like Tommy's
So you're talking
idea.
about the NCAA.
I like Tommy's idea a
Think of
lot.
March Madness, but for football.
That's
I know, but,
yeah.
but can we
Yes.
all agree with this? It's way different as far as the probability of the 32nd team winning the national championship in football versus basketball.
It would be like 32 being like Minnesota playing.
No, I mean, Minnesota wouldn't be the third. I mean, they wouldn't be that low. But you're talking Navy or Army is going to be, they're going to win the national champ. No, it's this like you're playing sort of ridiculous, pointless games early on. There's no way that the 30th, I would say there's no way that from the 20th team down is going to win a national championship.
I somewhat disagree because I think there's more parity. And I do think when you're playing more games, the risk of injury. That's why I think in the college football playoff, those top 4 teams have a huge advantage.
Massive.
They don't play.
I agree.
And so I think, like, if you did the NFL and you did the same thing, those bottom 12 teams, they don't have a chance. I think of like a Vanderbilt that,
they're not winning a championship. They're not.
NCAA, you could say the same thing about basketball too, though, couldn't you?
Sure,
but see, I think there's
low seeds win the first round, but they never win the title.
I think there's way more parity with college basketball than there is with college football.
Yeah,
when you look at a playoff structure like that, I think you're just playing games to play games. I don't think they're all that impactful or meaningful.
Yeah. I just think with this NIL,
and
it's going to make it more
not
parity
just an NIL, but I think transfer portal has brought more parity to it. I think the difference between NCAA basketball and football is if you have a couple of guys, you can make a run. Yep. In football, it's more than a couple of guys. You need more than that.
You need more than that. Yeah. So I love this expanded playoff. I think 32 is
32 is enough to have a legit office pool. Right now we have a bracket.
I want to see them go to 16 fast. I think the buys are such a it's such a big advantage. It disadvantages the 8 that make it. They got to work their tails off to win that first game, and then you play your reward is you play a fresh Georgia. Yeah. I think that's too big of an advantage for those top 4 teams. I didn't like that part of it.
But I think
they should deserve it, right? Because they won their conference. But it's a big advantage because we're going to see in those opening games, they're going to be amazing to watch and more amazing to gamble on. But what's going to happen is they're going to beat up on each other. They're going to be playing with tons of preparation, and they're playing for the bag, right? They're going to be playing so it's going to be all on the line. Yeah. And then their reward is to play 4 conference champions that have rested up for 30 days.
That'd be tough. But I can't get out of the 32.
So what's the NFL? 12? Right? 12 teams make it?
No, it's 14. Isn't it 7 now in each conference that make it now?
Oh, the top one gets the bye?
I think it's 7.
Yeah. So 14.
Similar.
So it's very similar.
Right. Yeah. And I just think that seems
reasonable.
That seems reasonable. In the NFL is all parity.
But they only have 32 teams. Like we have so many,
So the top seed in the AFC and NFC could be the Big Ten and SEC.
I feel like there is a similar feel that the 20th team in the NFL, they're not winning the Super Bowl.
Yeah.
I mean, right now, the 20th team right now in week 8, we're in 9. That's not a Super Bowl caliber.
But isn't the whole point of why everybody loves the NCAA tournament is if a 2 seed goes down in round 1, nobody expects the 15 seed to win the title. It's just that they ruined the title for that one team that they beat. So, if you expanded it to 32, and I don't think they will. I think that's too many teams as well. But if they did, it would never be that a team like Navy is truly going to win the whole thing. It's just, can they win one to screw it up for a team like Georgia or Texas?
I agree that it would be awesome to see the Appalachia State win, beat Michigan in a playoff situation. That would be epic, right? We'd all be loving that. But if you want a true measure of the best team in the league when it comes to football, are you just looking to knock people out from, is it a war of attrition or is it a war of actually who's the best team? In basketball, less wear and tear to play a longer playoff series and bracket system. In football, to Justin's point, you've got 18-year-old kids that have been going hard since the late, midsummer.
Yep.
They've got finals, they've got school early December, and you're asking these kids to go out there and try to win a national championship. You're not finding the best team. You're just finding the team that can outlast everybody.
And you wonder, in the era of not wanting to screw up your NFL career, right? We see people take themselves out of bowl games.
Opting out, yes.
What if
it gets too big?
Right. What if the playoff bracket comes out and you realize the path you have in front of you, and you're like, I can't play these 4 games. I'm going to get my ass kicked.
Or you play the first 2, and then you're I'm out.
Yeah, that's true. That's a really good point.
So this isn't the ranking, but let's.
Yeah,
to my
point, I was going
to say. If you just drop it at the top 12 right now. This is the AP, so it's not like I'm saying it's perfect, but you'd miss out on Indiana if you just go from 12-16, you would add Indiana, Alabama, Boise State, and LSU. I like that.
That's good.
If I expand this thing to like 20,
so look at number 20 because Ben said, all right,
SMU
number 20, right?
Yeah, 20 and 20 below.
Would SMU be able to make a run?
No.
Probably not.
No.
But I think then the 32, to get into the 32 would be different.
Yeah.
They would take, then they might take like a Michigan over an Army to get into the 32.
Yeah.
Just because they know they have a better chance of making a run.
I mean, no one's watching Army.
Right. But I think that 32 would be so sick to get in.
Let's go back to this week, though, because we got to wrap up Gopher talk here in a second. They travel to number 24, right? 24? Illinois, 11 o'clock Saturday right here on the Fan. Prediction, who wins and why?
This game scares the crap out of me. I just think they are Illinois in the success that Brett Bielema in particular has had against Minnesota and against since PJ Fleck's been here and his time at Wisconsin. Like, he just doesn't lose to Minnesota, and he's found ways to win in games that we had wrapped up, right? We're walking into the locker room with the W, and all of a sudden you look at the scoreboard like, what just happened? Mm-hmm. Just like last year. So I think he will have his team ready to go. They're a tough team. We got to go on the road. It's not again. I played there 3 times. I found it a kind of a sleepy place to play. So, but I think the difference in this game is Minnesota wakes up every single day and they practice at 10 a.m. Their body clocks are built for 11 a.m. kickoffs. Okay. And I think the level of play that Max Brosmer is at, I think when you look at Illinois and you can't really figure out their losses are difficult losses, but their wins aren't great wins. I go back to that Purdue game and I watched most of that second half a couple of weeks ago. Dude, they gave up 40 points. And I just think the level that Max Brosmer's at and the preparation that he puts in, he is like another little coach on the field. And they're calling plays and they're putting plays in practice on a Tuesday and running to perfection on Saturdays. That defense is playing at a high level. They're not great on third downs, but what they're great at is they turn the football over. The way that Coy Parrish and Cody Lindenberg and Anthony Smith, the way that they're playing in the team defensive scheme, I think they slow down late in that game. Probably a pretty hot Luke Altmaier, and I think we see another week of the Max Brosmer show, the Daniel Jackson show, the Elijah Spencer show, the Jamison Gear show. And again, we are not going to run the football again this week. We might hit them once like we did last week with the Darius Taylor, but we're not a great running team, but man, are we a great passing team. And so I like to see it continue. I have Minnesota 31, Illinois 27.
God. Tell you one.
I love that.
T.O. quick. I like how somebody's prediction just like,
I love it. So I'm a little scared about this weekend. Bielema lives rent-free in our head. I think he's going to really try to sell out to stop the pass because Maryland did everything they could to stop the run, and I didn't agree with what they were doing, so that's why we killed them. Yeah. So I think if Bielema's going to watch that film, really sit back on our passing, like our quick slant game, all the stuff that we're known for. So we're going to have to earn a little bit on the run game. I'm nervous about this game, too. We ride or die with Max. If Max is hot, we win. If Mac comes out with a dud, we're not going to win. Mm-hmm. I think it comes down to him, how hot he is, all the prep he's been putting in and everything he's been like he's peaking right at the right time right now and he's playing so well, and I think we're going to drive down. I truly think it's going to be like a 28-17 game. I think we pull out pretty good at the end.
All right. Yes. T.O., can you stick around for one more? One more over out of Tommy Olson. Flash, thanks for the time,
buddy.
Happy
Halloween, guys.
Yes, Happy Halloween.
Fargo Flash.
Enjoy that.
Sauce will go through sports. We would have done news with Chris that segment, but every Thursday we talk a lot of Gopher football. That would have been brought to you by our friends at Carboni's. Thanks, Carboni's.
I'd love some right now. Let's go to Hy-Vee.
Time now for the Vikings Report, presented by Hy-Vee, the official grocery partner of the Minnesota Vikings. Linebacker Jonathan Grenard joins the power trip next, thanks to Hy-Vee.
All right. Dr. Morsha, here we are. One segment away from .com. Tom Pelissero, by the way, brought to you by our good friends at Bell Bank. Thank you, Bell Bank. And again, our friends at Cultivated CBD at cultivatedcbd.com. No discount this week because I got the last pick, and it turned out to be the worst pick.
And so Jordan Mason got hurt.
Yes. He did.
Huge game changer for everybody. I mean, Zach had a terrible week, but Sauce, you're what? Just I think 2 points behind Chris, so you're basically now right back in the mix with what do we have? 7 weeks left? 6 or 7?
Yeah, something like that.
I think we have 7.
I think it's 7.
Cor, can we go over what the loss is again?
Sure, and it's good because Ben's here because he's a part of it. So whoever loses to Chris this year, if you are familiar with the tabloids of the 1990s, Bat Boy was a thing. Sauce has compared himself to Bat Boy on many occasions.
Really? Andy has called me that a lot.
Yeah, he was basically a little vampire boy that would be found in caves. It'd be like, Bat Boy found in Peru. And there would be a picture of Bat Boy on the cover of the National Enquirer. So the idea is you have to be a Bat Boy dressed as Bat Boy for the St. Paul Saints. So whatever the Saints want you to do at the stadium for the entire game, whether it's actually, I don't know, getting the bats and balls for the players, or whatever the deal is, you got to be kind of the Saints whipping boy for the day. But you also have to dress as Bat Boy for 24 hours, pay for a professional makeup artist to come on the show and turn you into
professional,
big time. It's got to look good. It's got to look like the National Enquirer. So you have to wear it for 24 hours. So if you got to go to Target, you got to stay in costume. If you're driving around the cities, you're going to look like a vamp.
Sleep in it?
Yeah, because you have to go to the Saints game that night, and then you can take the makeup off the following day on the Power Trip Morning Show. Wow. But the day in that 24-hour stretch before you go to the Saints game, you have to go to Twin Cities Live and do a segment with Ben and Elizabeth in full Bat Boy costume, but as yourself. And nobody makes a reference to why you're dressed as Bat Boy. So let's just say Sauce is the only loser.
Yep.
It would be, hey, coming up next, we're going to talk to Paul Lambert from KFAN. Big game, Vikings and Colts on Sunday. We'll ask him about that after this. And
you're heavy.
Ben and Elizabeth.
That's your first question?
And then Ben and Elizabeth come back from break, and they introduce Paul. And Paul's sitting there, and it says Paul Lambert, KFAN, but he's dressed as Bat Boy, and nobody references.
And Ben and Elizabeth can't.
They have to play it straight.
We play it straight.
They interview him straight, and whoever is the loser cannot be like, I lost a fantasy football bet. That's why I don't.
Yeah, you can't.
You have to.
You got to go full into it.
You got to answer the questions, and they can make the questions as serious as they want.
I'm excited to watch Ben's performance.
Oh, those two are going to have the best time.
Who's in dead last?
Zachary, I believe. Zach's always. We always knew he was going to be Bat Boy.
Okay. Then afterwards, you go home and you're just sitting at home.
Well, then you go to the Saints game. Yeah, right. So you go from Twin Cities Live, then the Saints game.
Yeah.
Then you go home and go to bed.
Full garb.
That's right.
I mean, obviously you could probably take like the cape off, but the makeup stays on and stuff, and then you roll out of bed in the morning and come back and do the power trip, and then in the 8 o'clock hour can take the makeup off.
Yeah, even Bat Boy probably took the cape off.
Yeah, of course he did.
Right, no matter what cave he was found in.
Yeah.
This is a good one.
It's going to be fun.
Yeah, it's going to be fun.
It's silly and it's fun.
It is silly and fun.
It's silly and fun, and it's one day.
Yeah.
Right?
Yes.
Get to the point. Yeah.
Are you going to ask him or not?
Ben, I need you to.
I've been waiting all morning for this.
No, not you,
Ben. I have a letter written down on the back of this piece of paper. Earlier this week, you guys had an intuitive on the show Twin Cities Live.
That's right.
She had you guess letters based on your intuition. I believe Elizabeth guessed R. I think you guessed E, and the letter was H. Mm-hmm. You both missed. So your intuition was wrong. She said you need to practice, though. So hopefully you've been practicing all week. I have a letter written down on the back of this piece of paper. I want you to trust your instincts. Hopefully you've been practicing all week.
Boy. Come on now.
What letter have I written down? Now, sure, some people like me would say you have a 1 in 26 chance.
Yeah,
but not if you have intuition. It should be better than that.
I'm going to go with K.
Mm-hmm. It was W. If you guessed M, I was going to flip it upside down. So I gave you 2 chances, but it technically was W.
Yeah, well played.
God.
I know. Listen, the game itself, the games that we played itself was just a little example of just like sometimes you just have to go with your gut,
your intuition.
Mm-hmm. And it was about like just kind of tapping into what I think that we all sort of know their core,
which is what do we know?
It's basically educated guesses on life scenarios, on what you think is going to be the best case scenario. And sometimes, that gut feeling, yes, sometimes it can be like fight or flight, but sometimes there's meaning behind it. And sometimes you just need to go with that intuition because we all have it.
Why did your intuition tell you to guess the letter E? And why was it wrong? Because it was H.
You know, Cor, I tried to, as she was telling me, I was trying to tap into just like, okay, just the first letter that just sort of pops into my mind. And I just went with that letter, and it just happened to be wrong. But I think that I can, if I concentrate enough and I practice enough every day, I think those letters become more visual and more accurate.
All right, let's just try this one more time.
Tommy, because Tommy's very intuitive.
Oh, yeah. Okay, Tommy,
you're very intuitive.
Okay, don't look away just so you can't even see the way that I'm writing this letter down, though, okay? Let's just see if you can get this one right with your intuition, Tommy. Okay, calm down. You're not on camera yet, thank God.
Are you sure he's not?
I missed it. I had my back to him.
Do you want to do eye contact to see if I can telepathically send it to you, or would you rather just kind of meditate, shut your eyes, and just feel it? What do you want to do? Eye contact or eyes shut?
Eye contact.
All right, I'm gonna send it to you. Let's see if we can telepathically. Do you feel in this letter that I'm sending it to you? Or no? Oh, you're getting it. Go for it.
G.
That's a B.
I see it rhymes though.
Yeah,
you're right. Your intuition was right.
Yeah.
You know what's funny? I bet if we did this 24 more times, one of us would get it.
We get one.
Why is he like that, Ben? Why doesn't he believe?
Corey, you were probably a charm growing up with doing all this stuff to people.
I mean, look, the listener's intuition for the initials every Friday, it's been right twice in the years we've done this, the jackpot, which is technically ahead of schedule. That's probably more than we should have had.
Yeah, probably.
Yeah, but if you throw in all the $25 ones that they've gotten right, just the one letter in the right spot, it's more than that, Core.
Right, because that should hit about 1 out of every 8 or 9 weeks.
Okay,
and that's about what it hits.
I think what she was saying is like, even if I guessed K and it was H, my intuition was close.
Yeah, because you said a letter.
I know, but it's way different if it was like me and I guessed Z.
If you guessed 7, I'd say your intuition is terrible.
Hey, Manny, we got to work on this. But
are those Z's?
Okay, hey, really quick.
Yeah.
Favorite candy tonight?
What?
Wait, am I supposed to guess yours?
No, not intuition.
Do the eye thing. Hang on, I'm going to send it to you. You got this. Go. Favorite candy tonight. Go for it.
For me or for you?
No, for me. You can feel it.
I got to guess.
Twix.
Yeah, I got to guess.
No, it's not Twix. Reese's peanut butter cups.
Those are fire.
Yeah, those are the best.
Peanut butter
That's
cups.
the best combination that God's ever created.
Yeah.
No, really.
Peanut butter and chocolate.
It's the best ever.
It is.
Yeah.
I mean,
throw them in the freezer.
There's not a better combination that ever existed.
No, Reese's Shapes though, like the pumpkins tonight. My heavens, I will have no less than 30 tonight.
No,
and I will pee out my A the rest of the week.
Wow.
Excuse me?
Why are you? What?
Wait, that gives you the runs?
Everything does these days. I just can't get it right.
Wait a minute. Did you just say pee out my A? Is that what you just said? Why are you?
That
Those
was
are
the
letters. Those are the 2 letters I wrote down. P-A. Unbelievable. That was so weird.
Okay, how many? Okay, Cor, how many pieces of this candy do you think is going to eat tonight?
I'm going to write down a number.
Yeah, write down a number.
Yeah, write down a number.
Okay, go ahead.
28.
What is your P to A threshold? Is it like 7 pieces?
How many pieces are you going to eat? Pumpkins.
58.
You just said 30. Why? I wrote down 30. Come on, man. I'm listening. This isn't meat sauce. Are you? You said 30.
If you're the guess numbers like that, I only usually do my best friend's old high school numbers. So
of course you do.
Dad, how would we not know that?
Yeah, I know. But I set my alarm clocks that way too. It's great. So like instead of getting up
guess your ATM code is the same, so be careful.
I do 7:58 for like when I wake up.
Hey, speaking of that, Oz Perlman, right, the mentalist.
Yeah.
Have you seen all those videos where he guesses people's ATM numbers? I don't understand it, right? There's clearly there's a trick there. I have no idea how he can possibly do that. I don't get it. Like, I don't even have an inkling of a path. Like, oh, he must do this and this, and no chance. I have no idea how he does that. It blows my mind every time. How does he do that?
I don't know. And you see the videos that if he's at like he did one with the Jets, right?
A whole bunch of times.
A whole bunch of
pretty
stuff.
Cool, man.
So cool.
Everybody in the audience is blown away too. They're there and they can't figure it out.
Right.
So it's not like it's an edited thing. They're like, oh, we're just, maybe we're just seeing the good parts. Like, their reaction is like, I can't believe I just saw that.
And what's crazy is, so I saw a video a week or two ago where he guessed Eli Manning's ATM pin, and it was 1010. So he apparently just had his number twice. All right, guessable. But when somebody's pin code is like 9273 and it has nothing to do with anything, it's like, what the F just happened?
Oh my God, dude.
How do they do this?
You just said my ATM card.
Yeah.
That's incredible.
Cor, I bet you he started out by guessing letters of the alphabet.
Yeah,
and
intuition.
He
That's
worked on his
intuition, though.
intuition.
Yeah,
Corey, so it can happen.
Hang on, I'm gonna guess Zach's ATM. I'm feeling like it is
Oh, boy.
6 9.
You're saying no.
Dear God.
Is he close?
Am I
Keep going. You're close.
third number is
All right.
Zach.
third number is 6 again, I think. I feel like the fourth number is
Don't say it. 'cause
Another 9?
It's his number. Is he right?
Is he right? Oh, Corey Perlman over there. Wow. I don't know how you did that.
if it was Max's, it would be 69420, but there's not 5 in an
Blaze
ATM pin. Yeah. Anyway.
Yeah, man.
Yeah, Oz Perlman is unfreaking
Cool.
believable.
Have you seen that bit where
it's fantastic?
I think it was
super fun.
Eli Manning and somebody else, and they held hands, and Eli closed his eyes, and that Perlman guy did things to the other guy, and Eli could tell what was happening. It was incredible.
It's because of the noises the guy was making.
Yeah, he guessed, and he was right.
Heard that, brother.
Yeah,
Oh, all right, your mic's up.
Was it that?
Whoa.
What was that?
Tommy.
Oh, yeah. Turn it up. I love this song.
I saw you. Waiting and watching and wondering whether
This will be me waiting for kids to walk up to give them candy tonight. This will be on repeat.
You should play this really loud.
I had just killed 3. Did you guys see I bought 3 ribeyes last night? Those are supposed to be for tonight, tomorrow, or the next day.
Oh, no, they're all tonight.
All tonight.
Yes.
Sing along, Tommy.
I don't know any other words. Waiting and watching and wondering why.
Tommy, you're an American treasure. Have all the Reese's pumpkins that you want tonight, dude. Have the best time.
You guys too. Have fun.
Christmas beaches tomorrow, Tommy's.
I can't wait.
Yeah.
Can't wait.
Love you guys.
Good luck to your A tomorrow. Yeah.
Yeah, even if you don't eat
Ben,
the
that's the
candy.
nicest thing you've ever said.
All right, P to your A. All right.
.com Tom Pelissero of the NFL Network. We'll ask him a whole bunch of things about the NFL and specifically about Colts Vikings after this on The Fan.
The Power Hour is live. KFAN.com/watch is where you can find it. It's all thanks to Quantum Fiber, your world unleashed.
That's right. You want to see .com Tom? See what his beautiful home looks like? Get a look at his face. See what an NFL expert looks like when he's hanging out at home. KFAN.com/watch right now. Or you just send me a text. Yeah, we got you, buddy. We got you. There he is. Hi, Tom.
Hawk, I was just making sure.
Yeah.
Oh, I'm hearing myself again. You got to get me out of my ear. There we go.
Boom.
Hi, Tom.
Nailed it.
Hi, Tom. Happy
How
Halloween,
we doing,
Tom.
everybody? I was a little bit worried that we were going to be costumed this morning, but I figured this group probably had a staunch no adults in costumes at their jobs.
Not at the jobs. Yeah.
Right.
Yeah. Right.
Are you guys doing something quirky and wacky and funny on NFL Network for Halloween?
Well, what we've learned, and this actually came up last week, is you never know when like really bad or serious news is going to happen. So there was one occasion, and this is going back like 7 years, and Ian recounted this, where he was dressed as Waldo on the air. And then there was a significant development in a court case involving an NFL player. And he was like, I need to change very fast to not look like this while discussing this story.
Yeah, I never really thought about that. Yeah. That would be bad. Some NFL player dies or has some tragedy happen. Yeah. Here's freaking Waldo reporting it. Yeah, that's a good point, Tom.
Well, listen,
well said.
Before we get deep into the football talk here with our main man, Tom Pelissero, I want to make sure we talk about the fact that he's brought to us by Bell Bank. And this football season, Bell Bank is giving one KFAN listener each week $1,000 to pay it forward to a charity of their choice. Nominate a charity of your choice right on KFAN.com. Just put in the keyword Bell or pay it forward. I put in the keyword Bell and nominate a charity, just like Alyssa Bigelow did. She nominated the organization My Very Own Bed. They provide new beds and linens to children and families who have recently secured stable housing. So My Very Own Bed, you get $1,000 courtesy of Bell Bank, thanks to our friend Alyssa Bigelow. Thank you for doing that. MyVeryOwnBed.org is their website. Congratulations. And thank you again, Alyssa, for listening. And thank you, Bell Bank, for bringing us .com Tom and just being good people.
Yeah, thanks, Tom. Tom, let's start with Sunday night. Colts and Vikings. This is the game that got flexed a couple of weeks ago to get the Jags out of prime time and potentially put what could have been at that point a red-hot Viking squad on Sunday Night Football. They're 5-2 still. But let's talk about the Colts for a second. They decide this week to bench Anthony Richardson, and they are going with 39-year-old Joe Flacco. And Vegas seemed to like that. The line moved by like a point or so the other way when they made the switch. So what does this mean for Richardson's career, and what does this mean for Sunday Night Football against the Vikings?
Well, if we start with Anthony Richardson, nobody wants to get benched during their second season as a high draft pick. It's the second time that we've seen that this year with the top pick from the 2023 draft. Bryce Young got all of 2 weeks this season, but he had also gotten his entire rookie season and played all but, I believe, one game. Anthony Richardson played 4 games in 2023. He had played 6 games this season. He started a grand total of 13 games in college. The thinking for the Colts when they drafted him was, this is a guy who needs to play football. He's got all the traits. He's like 6'5" and 250 pounds and got a huge arm and can make the wild plays. We gotta just put him on the field and let him play through this. But, if you watch this season, it's not just that, he threw some interceptions. It's like the way that he would throw interceptions, short arming a ball in a goal line situation. And it almost looks like he's trying to throw it to the other team. You had the situation last week where he's running a ton and then taps out, which I don't get the sense that was like the reason that the Colts bench him this week. I don't think that, it was as big of a deal maybe internally as it was externally, but it was evidence that, the way it was described to me was Anthony Richardson needs a breath. He just needs, whether it's mentally, physically, emotionally, this guy needs a chance to like step back and not be on the field for a little bit. And that's actually going to be better for his development at this stage. The other side of this is they saw it with Joe Flacco. He got a couple of starts. He played well in those games. It opens up some things in the passing game that they just don't have with Richardson. Yeah, you get the one deep shot. What did he hit, like a 70-yard touchdown to Josh Downs or something last week? But then he was like 2 of 12 overall. There were drops in there. There's a lot of different factors. But with Flacco, you get a veteran who, and don't overlook this part too. You're talking about a national TV game on the road. The U.S. Bank Stadium is going to be really loud. That doesn't really sound like an environment where a struggling young quarterback might be at his best. Flacco's seen everything. He's won a Super Bowl. Put him out there. I can certainly, tell you with a high degree of confidence some of the Colts receivers are happy that Joe Flacco is going to be out there just because they know where the ball is going to go on a given play now. You didn't always have that with Anthony Richardson. I don't think it's over for Anthony Richardson. We've already seen Bryce Young get back in the lineup, and he played one of his best games last week against Denver because Andy Dalton was involved in a car crash. But this is definitely a reset in terms of what their plan was for developing Anthony Richardson. The Colts are 4-4. They're in striking distance behind a Texans team that's all kinds of beat up right now. They figure, hey, let's just go try to steal some games and make a run at this thing. We got to focus on the now to keep the credibility in the locker room as opposed to putting a guy out there who, quite frankly, was not giving them their best chance to win.
Okay, so Tom, I actually wanted to go in a little bit deeper on the part you're talking about with their standings and kind of where they're at in totality in their division. I heard J.J. Watt talk about this yesterday, and I think it's a really good, valid point. If you have to ask yourself, are the Indianapolis Colts a Super Bowl caliber team? And if the answer is no, I don't think that they have the talent or the team, all 3 phases, whatever, to win a Super Bowl right now, then why not just let Anthony Richardson work it out this season? You're going to get a higher draft pick if you don't get a lot of wins, and he's going to get all of that game experience that you just laid out that he did not have in college, and he does not have a lot of game experience in the NFL. This is the season of development. So at what point are they going to allow him to develop if he's going to sit on the bench?
Well, that was the plan, Ben. There's no doubt about it. And, you have to remember, too, when you suffer a season-ending shoulder injury and have surgery like he did last year, most rookie quarterbacks, like everybody will always tell you that the biggest jump that players make is year 1 to year 2. Well, Anthony Richardson wasn't spending, this past off season getting better, fine-tuning certain things. No, he was just trying to throw again. He was just trying to get his arm back to where he could throw the football. And so they very much went into this season with that philosophy, which was, hey, we'll get him playing good enough. We'll roll through the growing pains. But I think that this is a reflection of where the NFL is right now. And, it's the same reason you're going to see that you've already seen, 9 trades in the NFL, and you'll probably see a handful more before we get to next Tuesday, which is you just don't have that type of time. Remember, 2 years ago, the Colts fired Frank Reich around the midpoint of the season and brought in Jeff Saturday, who had never coached a game, to try to salvage a season. It's the same owner 2 years ago, Jim Irsay, who is very passionate and wants to win. I'm not sitting here saying that Shane Steichen or Chris Ballard were going to get fired if they didn't make this move, but you've seen it in that organization. Something's got to change. You got to try to win. And you're in a position where you have that opportunity. I think that putting Joe Flacco in, as much as we can sit here and go, my God, it's the number 4 overall pick, and now he's on the bench, and did you blow that and blow the quarterback decision? Number one, there were no other quarterbacks in that draft. I mean, you had Will Levis was the only other one who was really in that conversation to go high. So if you were drafting a quarterback, that was your choice. It was Levis or Anthony Richardson, because Carolina – at 1 had already traded into the pick, and Houston at 2 wasn't moving off of C.J. Stroud. So this was your choice here. But also, if you kept Anthony Richardson on the field, it's a lot harder if you're Chris Ballard, the architect of the roster, to say, hey, look at all the other good stuff that we've got. Look at these receivers. I mean, Alec Pierce, Josh Downs, Michael Pittman, that's a really good wide receiver group. But it's hard to tell that when they have 1 or 2 catches in a game because the ball's not going where it's supposed to go. So there's a lot of just, big picture organizational stuff. I generally agree, Ben, that if you draft a guy like that and you're drafting him off traits, which, by the way, is a really risky thing to do. It's one thing to say, hey, we're drafting Trayvon Walker number 1 because he's got traits. And 2 years from now, he'll be a really good pass rusher, which we're kind of seeing in Jacksonville. He has gotten better. Totally other thing to say it's a quarterback who's never really played. And he had injuries in college. Now he's had injuries in the NFL. It was a dice roll. It's still possible that he comes back. There's plenty of examples of that. But right now, he doesn't look, just to be completely blunt, he doesn't look like an NFL quarterback. He looks like a guy who's learning to play the quarterback position. You put in Joe Flacco, and we'll see. This is not, the house money situation was in Cleveland last year, where Flacco was literally the 5th guy and had been on his couch to November. They signed him with this idea that, hey, if Richardson gets hurt or if he's not playing well, we know we got a guy who can still play. There's some pressure on Joe Flacco, and we'll see what Brian Flores is dialing up against the veteran, because I pretty confidently tell you it's going to be a different game plan than if you were in terms of what you would have been throwing after Anthony Richardson.
What does the Cam Robinson trade mean for the Vikings the rest of the season?
Well, it's a move that you only make, Sauce, if you're thinking, hey, we got a chance to be special here. Losing Christian Darrisaw was a big blow, weird play in that game, where the knee just kind of, buckles a little bit on him. I didn't sit there. I'm not a medical expert. I'm not a doctor, but I didn't look at that and go, oh, that's clearly an ACL. You didn't know what it was. You find out it's season ending. Now you've got to figure out, are you going to try just to take a chance with the guys on the roster, or do you go out and get somebody who is a high draft pick for a reason and has played a lot of games? And that's what they decided to do. They're aggressive. Kwesi's always aggressive this time of year. It's a 4th round pick in 2026, but Cam Robinson's a free agent. So either you re-sign him and you find a spot for him, or more likely he leaves in free agency. And if he plays well the rest of this season, you're probably getting a pretty high comp pick back in that same 2026 draft. Plus Jacksonville paying a bunch of the money. I thought that it made a lot of sense for the Vikings at this stage. You don't want your season to crater because all of a sudden Sam Darnold, who's had really good protection this season, has suboptimal protection. Cam Robinson's not, an all-pro. He's not probably a top 5 left tackle in the league, but he has certainly shown that he can play one of the most important positions at this level. I thought that it was the right move for the Vikings. They were determined to get somebody. Jacksonville, just by virtue of being bad, had a left tackle available, which is not something that you find very often here. And so I wouldn't be surprised at all if they're rolling him out there. I don't know if it's every snap on Sunday night, but ideally he's ready to roll. He gets the calls, and he's going to be out there.
Couple final points for Tom Pelissero of the NFL Network before we let you go. Tom, full participant in practice for TJ Hawkinson, and Kevin O'Connell said no snap count for TJ on Sunday night.
Yeah, this was always the plan. And I remember, last Thursday you guys asked me, is he going to play? And I was pretty sure that he was not, because based on the cadence of when they had opened his window and whatnot, but they really wanted to give him. He's right at 9 months now. And that's, even though that's not a hard, fast threshold, I mean, we all remember Adrian Peterson played like 8 months after, tearing his ACL and went out and ran for whatever it was, 1,700 yards. There's not a lot of guys who do that. And so just being on the more cautious side, getting to 9 months with TJ Hawkinson, I would absolutely anticipate that he's going to be ready to roll.
We're talking to Tom Pelissero. Big thanks to Bell Bank. We love Bell Bank around here. I know Hawk does. I do as well. So big thank you to Bell Bank. My last question for myself is, you are very tapped into, I think, just the vibe of the Minnesota Vikings, and that's kind of what I want to ask you about. So when we talked before the Lions game, I threw it out there like, oh my gosh, aren't we in a great position? Both teams, like, we set ourselves up. Like, a loss is not that big of a deal. And you're like, yeah, not a big deal, but you don't want to back it up with, a few days down the road on Thursday Night Football and lose that game to the Rams.
Yeah, thanks for putting that in our head.
Then you go ahead and throw that out in the ether, and that's exactly what sort of happened. So, like, how important from a vibe standpoint is this game for the Vikings on Sunday night? Because obviously you do not want to lose 3 in a row. Where do you think their mindset is right now?
Yeah, it's important for a lot of reasons, Ben. And I don't have a crystal ball on this thing. I just know, how good of a coach Sean McVay is. And, the fact that they were able to get healthy, got Cup back, got Puka back, they're still a team to be reckoned with, and they're right in the thick of the NFC West. The Vikings all of a sudden are going from the team that everybody had number 1 in their power rankings to, if you were to lose this game on Sunday night, you could be last place in the division. There's a game at Lambeau Field on Sunday between the Lions and Packers that's for first place in the division here. You have 2 teams there that are playing at a really, really impressive level, especially when you remember, the Lions just lost their best defensive player a couple of weeks ago in Aiden Hutchinson. And the Packers have had Jordan Love kind of in and out of the lineup, and they're still rolling with a guy, Malik Willis, who's been on the roster for like 2 months here. Yeah, the Colts are talented, okay? The Colts have, especially on offense, they've got weapons, they've got playmakers. They are going to test this Vikings defense. I have no doubts about that. And they got a guy in Joe Flacco who's going to be able to see it. He's still got one of the quickest, arm twitches in the league in terms of how he gets the football out. This is going to be a test for him, but it's absolutely a game you should win. If you want to be taken seriously, if you want to be in the mix, national TV at home against the Colts team that just made a quarterback change, even though sometimes that can give you a little bounce when you make a change like that. You got to win this game. The Vikings are a pretty healthy football team overall, absent the left tackle, and obviously they just went out and got somebody here. I don't know that they have to go out and blow them out by 40, but you got to find a way to get a win, because 6-2 is going to feel a whole lot different than 5-3 for this team, especially, again, given where the division's headed.
Appreciate it, Tom. Thanks for the time.
Thanks to Bell Bank. Thanks, guys.
Bye, buddy.
Tom Pelissero, NFL Network. You can see him all the time on television. He's on television. 8 o'clock hour of the Power Trip Morning Show. More with Ben Lieber. We'll do Fan 5 in a second. Headlines later. Parker Fox should probably be here in a second or two. This is the Power Trip Morning Show on the Fan.